Myself, I am Attorney Erin Tañada. I am the grandson of former Senator Lorenzo M. Tañada, who was the Senator of the Republic from 1947 up to 1971 and was recognized by the people as the grand old man of Philippine opposition during the dark days of martial law. I am the son also of Bobby Tañada, former Senator of the Republic. He was a senator during Cory's time from 1987 up to 1995 and became the representative of the 4th District of Quezon in 1995 up to 2001. I am the third generation. I don't belong to a political dynasty, but I belong to a political family. And kami po mga Tañada, hindi po kami nagsasabay-sabay kapag kami po ay naglilingkod po sa bayan. So I entered into politics in 2004, 3 years after my father ended his term. And I became congressman of the 4th District of Quezon. I was formerly the Assistant Majority Floor Leader in 2004. The chairperson of the Committee on Human Rights in 2007 and the Deputy Speaker of the House during the time of President Noynoy Aquino from 2010 up to 2013. I would like to also thank Attorney Gasco for his continuous support for looking for reforms in our country. He has been consistent in supporting candidates he believes that would make a difference in trying to solve the problems of society. As a matter of fact, in 2019, I was one of the candidates of Ocho Derecho. I was one of the 8 asked by then Vice President Leni Robredo. We called ourselves the Suicide Squad, that maybe paved the way for the 2022 campaign, which of course we saw the volunteerism that we've never seen in elections. So I'm happy to be back in the University of Cebu. The last time I was here also, of course, was when we were preparing for the campaign of Vice President Leni Robredo. Now, I'm sure you all are aware that this party list system that we have right now was just introduced in the 1987 Constitution. We never had that under the 1935 Constitution. We never had that under the 1973 Constitution of President Marcos. Now, if we try to find out what was the intention of the framers of the 1987 Constitution, sabi po nila, kailangan ngayon bigyan ng boses ang walang boses. Give voice to the voiceless. Sabi nila, dahil alam naman natin ang mga lumalahok sa politika dito sa ating bansa. Tumatakbong senador, tumatakbong congressman or congressperson, to be politically correct, ay yung mga may pera, mga mayayaman. So, ang tanong, paano malalaman ng mga mayayaman yung problema ng mga mahihirap kung hindi po natin bibigyan ng pagkakataon ang marginalized sectors ng ating lipunan na lumahok sa paggawa ng batas? Kaya nilagay po sa Article 6, the Legislative Department, na kailangan po na merong 20% ng members of the House of Representatives that come from the marginalized sectors of our society. And these sectors were identified. Workers, farmers, women, youth, indigenous persons, and the Constitution stated, and other sectors that the party list law would identify. So, if we go to the intention of the 1987 Constitution, it is clear. They should come from the farmers, workers, fisherfolk, indigenous persons, women, and other sectors that the party list law will identify. But what do we have right now? The party list system has been abused and has been taken over by political dynasties, by big business, by contractors that are not supposed to be representatives of the marginalized sectors. Kaya, sabi nga po natin, ngayon, sa dami ng party list na tumatakbo, hindi na natin alam kung ano yung pinaglalaban nitong mga party list na ito. Pagandahan ng pangalan para makuha yung attention. Meron dyan tutuktuin. Meron dyan wifi. Meron dyan ang probinsyano. Meron dyan Batang Quiapo. Pero ano bang pinaglalaban nitong mga party list organizations nito? Ano ba ang sektor na kinabibilangan bilang mga miyembro ng party list organizations? So, kung titigan nga natin, in 1987, dahil wala pang party list law, si President Cory Aquino was given the authority to appoint the sectoral representatives coming from the marginalized sectors. Women, farmers, urban poor, etc. In 1992, the same authority was given to Ramos because wala pang party list law. In 1998, dun, nagkaroon na po ng party list law at dun, unang masasabi po natin, nagkaroon po ng halalan talaga ng iba't ibang mga party list organization. Although the 1998 elections was not perfect, masasabi po natin, merong mga party list organizations that came from the marginalized sectors. Isa na yan, sabihin po natin, Akbayan, Partido ng Manggagawa, Sanlakas, Bukluran ng Manggagawang Pilipino. Wala pang bayan muna dyan, merong Anak Pawis, merong Gabriela, may Alliance of Concerned Teachers. So, maganda noong 1998. Pero as the years went on, pinasukan na po ang party list elections. Dahil nagkaroon po ng desisyon ang Korte Suprema na sinabi na hindi kailangan na maging miyembro ng isang party list organization, or in other words, hindi kailangan maging miyembro ng marginalized sector yung magiging kinatawan ng party list. Kaya nakita po natin in 2010, yung anak President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Mikey, kasama ko po si Mikey noong 2004, 2007, pero noong 2010, dahil si Pangulong GMA nag-aksyon na siya po ay tatakbo bilang congressman ng Pampanga, nawala ng posisyon Mikey. So anong ginawa Mikey? Naghanap ng party list. Naging kinatawan po ng security guards na hindi naman siya security guard. Kaya sinasabi nga po natin, gusto na po ang party list system. Kaya importanteng pinag-uusapan ng mga estudyante, taong bayan, dapat tayo ng tamang party list. Ay, kung babalikan natin ang saligang ba, simple lang po. Sila ay dapat para sa mga may hirap. Imagine 20%. Kung 300 members ang members of the House, dapat 60 ang galing sa marginalized sectors. Ngayon, baka tanungin ninyo, kung Eri, no? Ano ba naman yung ML? Bakit ang Liberal Party? Ang ML po, mamamayang liberal. Ito po ay ang multi-sectoral formation ng Liberal Party. Ngayon, pumasok ang Liberal Party sa party list. Dahil alam rin po natin, no, dito sa ating bansa, may problema ang party list, ang political party election dito sa ating bansa. For example, what do I mean? What do I mean? Mukhang mahina na yung batik ng mic. Alam natin, in 1987, during the time of President Cory Aquino, ano yung dominant majority party? Hindi ba LDP? Laban ng Demokratikong Pilipino. Ang pinuno po dyan ay si Speaker Ramon Mitra noong panahon ng 1987. Nung nagkaroon po ng halalan noong 1992, natalo si President Ramos sa convention ng LDP. Sakit ng Pilipino, humiwalay, gumawa ng sariling partido. Gumawa ng Lakas from D, di ba? Nagkaroon ng alliance niyan with former Governor Lito Osmeña. Pero ilan lang ang mga congressmen, 3 na sumama. Si De Venecia, si Amante ng Caraga Region, and I fail to recall the other person who helped form the Lakas. President Ramos won. What happened? Majority of those elected in the 92 elections transferred to Lakas. In 1998, then candidate Joseph Estrada had also very few members who were with the PMP. He formed the PMP. He won the election against Joe De Venecia. What happened? Majority of those who won in the election transferred to PMP. Walang political loyalty. Natanggal po si ERA. Umangat po si Vice President GMA. Naging Pangulo po ng ating bansa. Wala pang eleksyon noong 2001, no? During the impeachment. Pero after the 2001 midterm election, naglipatan po ang mga miyembro ng PMP bumalik sa Lakas. And then in 2010, no, we were 20 congressmen in the Liberal Party, and I think 4 senators at the time. When President Noynoy won the elections, the numbers of the Liberal Party in the House from 20 went up to 160. And then when we lost in 2016, no, the numbers of the Liberal Party went down to 12. Currently, we are at 8. So sabi po ni Pinoy, noong 2011, I cannot guarantee that we will win in the 2016 elections. And if the tradition happens that people jump from one party to the other, in 2016, magiging maliit na naman ang Liberal Party. So, ang kailangan po natin gawin, buksan na natin ang partido sa mga sectoral formations. Workers, students, women, indigenous people, LGBTQIA, senior citizens, urban poor, fisher folk, at iba pa. Dahil sabi nga ni Pinoy, kung papapasukin po natin, at least magiging stable ang Liberal Party. Hindi na tayo aasa sa mga elected officials. Maliban lang kung talagang matibay ang mga paninindigan ng elected officials na yan. No? And I still remain a member of the Liberal Party. I've been a member of the Liberal Party since 1992. Currently, I am the acting president of the Liberal Party since Congressman Edsel Lagman passed last January. So, dahil pinapasok na po namin yung mga iba't ibang mga sektor, so naging stable yung party, and in 2021, Vice President Leni Robredo said, dahil nandito na sa partido natin ang iba't ibang mga sektor, bakit hindi natin ipa-accredit as a party list yung mamamayang liberal or liberal citizens? So, sinubukan po namin, no? Panahon po ni Duterte pa rin po yan. And sad to say, we were not allowed by the COMELEC to join the 2022 elections. So, after the 2022 elections, upon the assumption or the election of Edsel Lagman as president of the Liberal Party, sabi ni Edsel Lagman, subukan uli natin, no, na i-register ang Liberal Party as a multi-sectoral formation. So, in 2024, of the month of July, the COMELEC gave mamamayang liberal accreditation to participate in the 2025 elections. Kaya nandito po kami. No? Nandito po kami. So, ang pinaglalaban po, at ito po sa pag-uusap po ng iba't ibang sektor. Ang common panawagan po nila ay hustisya at reforma. Kung yan po ay urban poor, kung yan po ay fisher folk organization, kung yan po ay magsasaka, kung yan po ay kababaihan, at iba pang mga sektor. Si Senator Laila De Lima po ang first nominee po namin, no? Wala naman quick question na si Senator Laila ay kababaihan, no? We can represent the sector of the women. It cannot be questioned also her love for the poor as the main author of the 4-piece law. Second nominee, si Teddy Bagilat, the person who ran for Senate in the slate of Vice President Leni Robredo in 2022, former congressman for 9 years, former governor. He's a member of the indigenous people as an Igorot, no? So he can fight for not only for the interests of the IPs but also of the environment. And ako po yung third nominee, no? And based on my track record of trying to fight for social justice, tingin ko wala naman mag-question, no? So, kung titingnan nga po namin, ang formation ng mamamayang liberal ay parang formation ng akbayan or formation ng bayan muna. Baka nagkakaiba lang po sa usapin ng ideology. Pero pare-pareho ang panawagan po namin para sa hustisya at reforma. And the ML number 6 is the only party list organization that was endorsed by Vice President Leni Robredo. So this is our first attempt in trying to garner enough votes to win, no? And hopefully makakuha po ng suporta mula sa University of Cebu. Alam po ninyo, ang kinakatakutan po ng mga politiko ay mga eskwelahan. Yung mga teachers sa eskwelahan. At kung titignan po natin kung bakit, kapag nagkakaroon po ng mock elections sa bawat iba't ibang mga paaralan, ang nananalo po ng mga kandidato ay yung mga kandidato gusto po nila. Kikong Pangilinan, Bam Aquino, Heidi Mendoza, Luke Espiritu, no? Teddy Casino, Dodoy Balyon, Sani Matula. And para sa akin, reflection po yan ng mga guro, ng mga administrador, ng mga paaralan. Dahil maganda yung pagbibigay kung ano ba talaga ang problema dito sa ating lipunan. Kaya nagpapasalamat nga po ako sa University of Cebu, kay Gasco, for being very consistent, no, in inviting and endorsing candidates that he believes would make a difference, and with your help, will be able to elect them in office. Ngayon, kung tatanungin niyo, okay, Kong Erin, sige, mamamayang liberal. Bakit naging ML? Kasi masyadong mahaba yung mamamayang liberal. Dapat mas catchy. Okay, sabi ng mga senior citizens, Kong Erin naman, ML, martial law. At least, naalala ka agad, ML, martial law. Kung Gen Z nga, tatanungin po natin, ano yung ML? Mobile Legends. O di, nakuha po rin po natin yung mga kabataan. Pero nakakatawa nga po, may storya lang po ako ng konti. No? Swerte nga po, dahil number 6 po ang nakuha po natin sa bunutan. Dahil noon, ang pagkuha po ng numero sa party list elections ay alphabetical order. In 2016, napalit na po yan. Ginawang raffle. Dahil sabi po ng COMELEC, lugi po, lahat nagsisingitan sa letter A o sa number 1. No? So, gawin na lang bunutan ang numero na lalabas po sa balota. So, ang nakuha po namin, imagine, first attempt, number 6 kagad. First column, bandang taas, madaling hanapin. Pero nga, dahil nga Liberal Party nga po kami, parang hinahabol pa rin po kami. Ang number 5 po, kayo magugulat. No? Ang number 5 po, Duterte Youth.
Hello, sir.
Yung number 7 po, sa ilalim po namin, PBBM. So nasa gitna kami ng team kadiliman at team kasamaan. Pero nasa gitna naman po yung liwanag sa gilid. So ano po yung pinaglalaban po ng ML? Number 1, of course, usapin ng urban poor. Housing. No? Housing ang problema ng ating urban poor. Ang konsultasyon po namin sa iba't ibang mga urban poor communities, kailangan ibalik po ang community mortgage program. Dahil sa programa ng kasalukuyang administrasyon, ang gusto ng administrasyon ngayon ay condo type, vertical. No? At least, sabi ng mga urban poor sectors, organizations na nakausap po namin, dapat may choice naman. Either condo type or vertical or horizontal. At ibalik po uli yung community mortgage program or socialized housing. That's one. Number 2, with regard to fisher folk. Ewan ko kung meron pong mga naninirahan malapit sa mga municipal, coastal municipalities. Bakit? Dahil kung aware po kayo, last January, no, lumabas ang desisyon ng Korte Suprema para sabihin na yung municipal waters na 15 kilometers na reserve para sa mga maliliit na mangingisda ay unconstitutional raw. Bakit raw? Dahil they based the decision on a mere technicality that the Solicitor General did not file their answer within the required number of days.
Kaya when the decision of the Supreme Court came out, a division of the Supreme Court, the different fisherfolk organizations protested. And right now, it has not yet been finalized by the Supreme Court dahil quini-question bakit i-declare unconstitutional as ang isang provision ng batas on a mere technicality and not on the merits. Kaya nga, yesterday or a few days ago, before umalis si Cardinal Tagle, isa siya sa mga, hindi Cardinal Tagle, Cardinal Ambo David, before he left for Rome, isa siya sa mga petitioners questioning the decision of the Supreme Court. Dahil yung municipal waters na 15 kilometers, yan ay reserved para sa mga maliliit na mangingisda. Ngayon, dahil hindi na reserve, pwedeng pasukan yan ng mga commercial fishermen. So, paano ngayon yung mga mahihirap po natin mangingisda? At yun po yung pinaglalaban po natin. And para sa akin personal, bakit? Ang Republic Act 8550 or yung Fisheries Code, yan po, ang principal author po niya ay yung aking ama nung siya po ay congressman noong 1998. So, kailangan ibalik ulit yun. Sa usapin po ng farmers, alam po natin na ang mga magsasaka po natin ay senior citizens na. Ask the children of the farmers if they want to be farmers, anong sagot nila? Ayaw. Bakit? Hindi uunlad ang buhay nila. Mahirap ang trabaho. Paano sila kikita? So kung ganito yung problema ang hinaharap ng ating gobyerno, na kung saan threatened ngayon ang food security, kung saan ang contribution po ng agricultural sector sa ating gross domestic product is less than 5% compared to other countries in the region. Kailangan na mag-isip ang ating gobyerno, ang ating mga mambabatas. Paano na natin iengganyo o iimbitahin ang mga kabataan na pumasok sa agrikultura? Dahil kung hindi po natin gagawin yan at maiwanan ang ating agricultural lands, anong gagawin po sa mga agricultural lands na yan? Gagawing subdivision. Diba? Gagawing mall. Di lalong magkakaroon po tayo ng problema sa food security po natin. So if it is already the time to think outside of the box, to encourage out-of-school youths to go back to agriculture by giving them allowances to plant, stipends to plant. No. Why not? Why not? Kailangan na tayo mag-isip dahil napag-iiwanan po tayo tapos nauubos po ang ating agricultural lands. And that is important. That is important. With regard to education, sa ating mga kabataan, still a question of access. Bultes dito sa University of Cebu, it's a private institution. So, yung mga may konting kaya, nakakapag-enroll. Pero, still, it is still a problem of access to education. So, kailangan na rin pag-isipan ng ating gobyerno, hindi lamang dagdagan ng budget ng education sa tertiary level, sa state colleges and universities, pero sa private schools, mag-implement na rin ng system ng vouchers para makapasok yung mga hindi nakapasok sa SUCs sa mga private institutions para makatulong rin sa mga private institutions. That's one. I came from a meeting of the COCOPEA, and these are the issues that we talked about. Number two, teacher salaries. Siyempre, may migration ng konti ang mga guro galing sa mga private schools. Kung may opening sa public schools, no? Sa state colleges and universities, lilipat yan. Dahil mas mataas ang sweldo. So, kailangan na rin pag-isipan ng ating gobyerno paano natin tutulungan rin, no? Hindi necessary i-match yung binibigay na sweldo, pero paano ma-augment ang sweldo ng mga teachers sa private institutions. These are the things that they have to talk about in Congress. And not only talk about ayuda, AIX, tupad. Dahil ang pinag-uusapan dito, no? Investment for the future, education. Wala. Tinanggalan ng 10 billion yung computerization program ng DepEd. Saan nilagay? Ayuda. Sa 2025 budget. Sa issue I've talked a little about tertiary education. Sa issue sa elementary and high school. Importante po, no? Alam naman natin, pag ihahambing po natin ang ratio between public schools and private schools in the elementary and high school level, mas malaki po talaga ang public schools. Ngayon, alam rin po natin na we are doing poorly in the test, no, of our students sa PISA. Out of 78 countries, I think we are ranked 71 sa dulo. Almost dulo na. So anong problema dito? Bumabagsak ang quality. Sino sisisihin? Ang teacher ba? Siyempre hindi. Ang sisisihin pa rin dito, gobyerno. Bakit? Pagkatapos makuha ng isang teacher ang kanyang lisensya para magturo sa public school, may tulong pa ba ang gobyerno? Wala. After the teacher graduates, passes the board, he is assigned in a school. Is there any more assistance that the teacher receives outside of the salaries and school materials she receives? Wala. 5 years after teaching, is there a government training program to upgrade the schools, the skills of teachers in elementary and high school? Wala. Kung gusto ng teacher mag-masters para lalong ma-enhance yung kanyang pagtuturo, may tulong ba ang gobyerno? Wala rin. Kaya ano nangyayari sa mga public elementary and high school teachers? Nag-ibang bansa. I just saw an interview of a teacher in Vietnam. At siya, direct to the point, alaga po sila ng Vietnam sa mga kailangan po nila. Hindi katulad sa ating bansa. So, question of course, what is our legislators doing about this? So I can talk on other issues that we've been holding our consultations with sectors, and ito yung ipaglalaban na po namin ni Senator Laila de Lima. Although of course, ang botohan po dito iba. In order to get one seat, no, you have to get at least 400,000 votes. In order for the second nominee to come in, you have to get double that, 800,000 votes. To get the third nominee to win, you have to get at least 1.2 to 1.5 million. The only party list organization that was able to win 3 seats in the 2022 election was ACT-CIS of Tulfo. Pero do you hear anything about these issues coming from the other parties? Kaya ito yung mahirap na laban. No? Hindi lamang sa usapin ng senador kung saan gusto po natin makita na manalo si Kiko at si Bam, si Heidi at mga progresibong mga kandidato. Pero mukhang mga artista nang pumapasok eh. Yung isang artista o yung isang TV personality, tinanong kung anong plataforma niya, anong sagot? Kapag manalo na lang po ako, doon po ninyo malalaman. Bigay ng jacket. It looks grim, pero I still believe there's hope. You're here. You've been teaching your students very well. The mock elections show the results. Pero we have to push harder. We have to push harder. Sabi ko nga sa mga estudyante, dahil I teach in De La Salle University. No? The law school is named after my grandfather and Cap Pepe Jocno, but I teach in Taft Avenue. And I told the students, no, never think that just because you won in the mock elections, your candidates won in the mock elections, that the whole youth will be thinking the way you do. No? I told them in the 2022 election, yes, Lenny won. Landslide in the universities. Pero you go to the out-of-school youth, talo. Talo. So we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of campaigning to do. And this 2025 elections, hopefully, Kiko Bam gets in, Heidi, we're hoping for a miracle but she's not doing it. She's not faring in the top 20. But 2025 is a stepping stone for 2028. Kaya kailangan meron tayong may panalo dito. Maski sa isa sa Senado kung pwede, kung hindi, maski sa party list. Sa party list system natin. Kaya ako po ay nagpapasalamat. Ayoko naman po na magsalita ng masyadong mahaba. No, I think I've spoken for at least 30 minutes. At kung meron po kayong mga katanungan tungkol sa party list o tungkol sa mga iba't ibang issue ng mga sektor, sisikapin ko pong sagutin. Pero ako ay talagang nagpapasalamat sa University of Cebu, kay Gasco, at sa inyong lahat sa panahon na binigay po ninyo ngayong umaga, no? Last 2 weeks of the campaign, ipanalo po natin ito. Magandang umaga po at maraming po salamat.